Okay, we're live. So we're gonna discuss a little bit Batman versus Superman. I did this with other friends of mine with Star Wars, so I'm gonna do this with Batman versus Superman. So Zachary, go ahead and say what you think of Batman versus Superman.
Okay, well, I really, really liked the film. As a DC fan, it was really nice to be able to watch it and see all the little tiny Easter eggs about Batman's past and about so I guess my favorite part would be the suit, because the suit looked right out of the comic book and it was so amazing. And Ben Affleck did an amazing job as Batman. He's my favorite Batman so far, besides Kevin Connery for the animated voice, because you can never go wrong with Kevin Connery.
You could never go wrong.
But Ben Affleck with live action, he's my favorite. He's really dark and gritty, and you can tell he just does not care. Like, he just wants to get the mission done. No matter who steps in his way, he'll kill them if he needs to, pretty much now. And the little tiny Easter eggs with the Justice League coming out, like the Flash cameo when he was going back in time, that was my favorite cameo in the whole movie. That was just really nice to see. They have Flash go back in time, and he has the suit, which was in the comics, like the little I guess the armored suit to help him. I never read the comic, but I've seen pictures. And
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
just
yeah.
very, very nice to see that. And all the other cameos were great too. I didn't really care for Cyborgs that much because they didn't really explain a lot. But then again, it did. It was a little confusing, but it was still very nice to see. And I'm really excited to see who the seventh member is of the Justice League, who's going to be in it. I'm hoping it's Green Lantern. And all I can really say is I'm very, very excited for Justice League to come out next year.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's it called? How do you say your name? It's Andredel? Is he?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just managing people
Yeah, he is.
in the
Okay,
chat. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's Andretto.
I was gonna
That's
say
my
no.
the channel name.
Yeah, I was gonna say what's your thoughts?
Oh, well, you can go first because you haven't really talked.
Yeah, okay. But I like the film. Okay, I as a DC fan, I can get giddy over a lot of things, right? But
Mhm.
I'm also like going into filmmaking, so for me,
Yeah, me
I,
too.
I I like to I like to look at everything, and some of the things that now are starting to piss me off is basically the fact that it was like called in the extended edition, right? Supposedly there's going to be a full like football scene where where at that point you know that that's going to have something to do with Cyborg, right? It's like the whole Cyborg thing. I feel like there's a full section of the movie that it's not there, like the whole like Lex talking in the ship
Mhm.
to like the other people, and I feel like stuff like that would have added so much more. And I know why they took it off, because they fear that it's too, what's it called, um too nerdy, right, and people won't get it. But that's the thing, right? It's like I feel like this film would have been so good if it was like if Wonder Woman came out first, then a Batman solo film, and then this film came out, and then the Justice League.
Yeah, yeah, I can picture that.
You know what I mean? Because at that point we would have had like the whole we would have understand Bruce more. We could have shown like why he broke, right? At that point we would have had a lot more Wonder Woman, right? I like
Hmm.
the film. I like the film a lot. I gave it what's it called, a 4 out of 5, right? Now my whole thing was basically that I felt that it was it it was such a grand scale, right? That having it as a second film, like I felt like that was one of their mistakes. The biggest issue with this film for me was its marketing. I did not like its marketing. Like I love the trailers. However, someone said this, and I forgot who said this, but it's very true. If you watched all the trailers, you literally had a scene from every single part of the film,
Yeah, yeah, I can
almost.
see that. Yeah.
It's like imagine we lived in a world where we didn't know Doomsday was in this film. We didn't know Wonder Woman was in this film. And like, and because like that would have added a lot, because the whole film they don't even say Diana's name.
Oh, that's
You
true.
know?
They don't.
they like that one part where she leaves and then she goes like, what's it called? And imagine that when Bruce first sees the image and you're like, oh my god, that's Wonder Woman. You know, it would have added so much more. I feel like half of the things that would have made the critics, the fans lose their crap was revealed in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, in the trailers, not in the film, because obviously it's going to be revealed in the film. But like, I felt like that was almost like my negatives. I loved what's it called, Batman. I loved Superman in this, and I loved how they're not just making him into this iconic figure, because they're trying to take a realistic approach towards that iconicness. Where how in the first film he felt a bit more lost, in this film he felt like he was trying to embrace his inner, like he was trying to be a bit more Superman, but the people didn't really accept him because he made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, because he's in. Well, and then they don't want to trust something they can't control. I mean, that's human nature.
Exactly. And what I like the most is like that one scene, which literally gets me every single time, is where he gets the spear at the end, and then he's looking at the fight that's happening, and he's like, I have to do this. I know I have to do this.
Yeah.
Right, and then he's like, and at that point, because even he remembers what his father said about how his father's connection to lose his nightmares was basically his love for his mother, right? And how he's like, and how he realizes that his love for Lois is gonna bring out his humanity, and so he's just like, this is my world, you know, you're my world. And how people are like, oh, why didn't Wonder Woman do it? Is because anyone who would have done it, and it's possible that Batman could have done it, Wonder Woman could have, they all would have died. Mm-hmm. That's the truth, and he knows that. It's not because of kryptonite that he died. It's because Doomsday could kill them, and how he knows that, and how he's like, you know, I'm gonna do it. I have a friend who's watching, and he's like, he wants me to give a shout out. Shout out to Simon. I don't know. He's messaging me, so I'm like, sure, why not? Yeah, I'm telling a bunch of people to check this out. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell some people too.
But yeah, no, I felt like the extended edition's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be better. I think it's gonna be better.
Now, is it true that they're gonna post the extended edition this summer?
The actual DVD, yeah, I'm 99% sure it's gonna come in the summer. 1 second.
I think it's gonna be June, maybe July. Yeah, because Star Wars had like 5 months, so maybe July. Can I expect hopefully the 3-hour cut will come with a release.
Yeah.
I kind of did a review, but I can do this on stream. What I thought of the movie. Kind of watching the first time can be a little confusing. So I can kind of see where critics and people maybe don't like it, but if you watch it again, it's a really good movie. And when I see critics, like I know this has been a topic in the group, where people have kind of been pissed off at critics giving it like a 1 out of 10, which is this movie is not a 1 out of 10. It's just not. That would be saying it's comparing this to. Oh, you're moving around a bit. I'm just gonna mute. There we go. He can unmute himself when he fixes. Anyways, it's like comparing this movie to The Room, which is an abomination, or Troll 2, which is also an abomination, which this movie is not. And I see a lot of people complaining about the Martha scene, and I. The reason why he by the way, Kaiser, you have to unmute to talk. I muted you because you were making noise. Anyways, the reason why Batman stops isn't because the mother's name is Martha. It's because Batman realizes he's becoming Joe Chill or the murderer of his parents. That's why he realizes he has Superman has a mother, and kind of realizes and and I've said this before. He doesn't really directly kill people in the movie, but they are collateral damage. I mean, the guy who with hand grenade, he punches the guy and he loses it, and he dies, but he doesn't directly kill him. Same with the people he brands. And if you look at it, Batman is kind of the villain of the movie up until that fight scene, the end of the fight scene. So, and with Superman also conflicted. If you remember in Man of Steel, Jor-El says they're gonna human or mankind will stumble, they will fall, but you will guide them to the light, something like that. So, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Am I muted? I don't know if I'm muted or not.
No,
No, you're not.
Kaiser muted.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Well, I personally I agree with you how Batman was the villain because he even said that he was telling Alfred how they're the bad guys, and for 20 years they've been the bad guys, and he knows that, but he's still going out and doing good. Like he's still helping Gotham, even though the police force still hates him, and pretty much everybody does not like him. I mean, even Superman doesn't like him. But he still goes out and he does good for what he thinks is good. And you're right, he doesn't really personally like grab a gun and put it to some guy's head and pull the trigger. But there are some scenes where it's a little like a lot of people were shocked. Like in the car chase, a lot of people were like, "Whoa!" Because he just kind of let the car explode. Then he ran on top of the car. Like that's just like he didn't even care. Which I mean, you got to understand. He wants to get the kryptonite. That's his only goal right now. If people get in the way, he does not care.
yeah,
And that's all he cares about, getting to his goal.
My
and
my
oh, go ahead.
my counter in a sense, because I'm gonna play devil's advocate here a bit, but my counter to that would be yeah, he's the villain, and I agree with you. However, if you watch the movie, at the start it feels like he's the main character. Do you know what I mean? Like right from the start, and I felt like if they had to pick either one, because they made it seem like they were trying to humanize him right from the start. You know what I mean? Right from the first sequence where he's in the city and boom, Superman's doing this, destroying all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
In the fight, right? That's cool. They're trying to humanize him, but from that point on, they were trying to make him seem out to be like the villain. They had to pick one. Like I'm totally on board with Batman seeming like he's bad, and then he's just lost his way and stuff like that. However, if like they should have either just tried to humanize him and be like he doesn't like what Superman is doing, or just make him seem like like he just wants to destroy him because Superman's too dangerous. Because like if they just took on like, oh, Superman's like it's all in Superman's perspective, and how like, because there's also another sequence which I got really pissed off that it took off, where Superman visits the like a prison, and he's looking more into Batman, and I felt like that would have added a lot to Superman, because I felt like even though I love Superman, there was not enough of him. There was not enough.
Really
there should have been more of Clark Kent, right? As much as there was of Bruce, there should have been less of Lois. There should have been Lois and Alfred should have have equal screen time, and then you should have added more of Clark Kent and a bit more of what's it called, Lex Luthor.
Yeah, but as it is, the movie is crammed. It is 2.5 hours, so cramming even more stuff in there they would have had taken other stuff out, like the nightmare scene, or I mean, you could argue they should have maybe cut it, or not put it in the theatrical release and in the Blu-ray release. But
Yeah. No, I agree with you, but my whole thing was basically the one scene which I think that they should have cut and merged the whole ideology with something else was the Africa scene. They should have basically picked the implementation, so basically Lex Luthor blaming Superman, and then the world starts to blame Superman, and Lois is trying to figure out stuff from there, into the Senate scene. They should have had the Senate scene where at the end they blame Superman, and they wouldn't need the Africa scene, because the Africa scene where it felt like there was multiple storylines, I didn't feel like Lois's went anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, I felt like, okay, Superman, Batman's led, what's it called, right from the whole finding the bomb, led him to Superman trying to kill him. That was cool, right? Lex Luthor's whole, at the end, like, it went throughout the whole way. Lois is just like, right after the Senate, Lois was just, it just went out. And at that point, I didn't care about her. Like, I liked her, I liked Superman's connection to her, and I felt like they should have played with that a bit, but like I didn't really care what she was looking for it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you also look at it like that, Lois is the one who find. I think they wanted to show off Lois is just as cunning as Batman, because the only one who figured out that Lex Luthor was behind it was actually Lois and Batman.
Yeah.
And Lois, whether you like it or not, is the reason he's behind bars, because she exposed him.
Oh no, I agree with you. I'm not like when I say, oh, I don't like this, I don't mean like, oh, it's not fully like looked at, because I can say that they could have made a movie just on that. It was that deep. My whole thing is that once the Senate scene happens, right, as an audience, because as a whole part of a director is to give focus, right? It's to give focus on certain characters and then basically play out on others. I just felt like they tried to focus on everything.
Yeah, they did.
Because like what they could have, like, I just felt like Lois felt out of place in this grand scale of movie. That's what I felt. I felt like they should have, like, for example, Alfred, one of my favorite characters, but I love the fact that they didn't go into his story.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that they didn't talk about where he's from, even though he's so different in this film. And like there's holes like, oh, they're trying to make him a bit more like military style, and they could have gone into that, but like they didn't. He was only used with Bruce Wayne, and I felt like that's what they should have done.
For one thing, I don't know if you talked about this. I was talking to other people. I believe that they should have cut out the whole Africa scene completely at the beginning, because it didn't really make sense to me.
I just said that too.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, but it just, to me, like I know you said this, like it should have been another movie completely where she's trying to break Lex down and figure out what's exactly behind him, like who Lex really is.
Yeah, like what I basically said maybe you had to stop out for a second, but it was basically that the Africa scene, the whole implementation for that was Lex was trying to figure out Superman's identity, right? Mm-hmm. And he kind of knew at that point, he had an idea and he figured out who he was, right? The whole Lex was trying to blame Superman for the incident. I felt like that whole the implementations and the reasons could have easily been sent to the Senate scene, where at the end of the Senate scene they kind of blamed the guy in the wheelchair. They could have easily blamed Superman.
Yeah.
Right? And then Lois is like, holy crap, I have to basically figure out what's going on, if they really want to still do that Lois part. And they could have just had that. Like that could have easily been played out with it.
Yeah.
Also, how what's it called? Back to the point how you said that Lois was the one who basically put things behind bars. When Lex is caught, he's caught in the ship, talking to what's it called? Whatever. Like it seemed like one of Apocalypse's member, either Steppenwolf or someone else, right? Mm-hmm. But like even if you watch the film, because I watched that scene and then I watched the film again, when you see the magazine where it says Superman is dead, and then he opens it further and he sees one of our own, Clark Kent, is died as well. And next to that it says Lex, and it says Lex was swatted inside the ship. So, like, you can easily see what like he's responsible for
Yeah.
the Doomsday thing. So they could have easily just put him in jail for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Right?
I think he could have probably talked his way out of it. Said he was a hostage or something. I
He
mean,
could
the
have.
evidence. Yeah. So so making any doubt that he was behind anything with the Lois scene.
But but we all know he's gonna do that anyways, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna talk himself out of the thing anyways. He's gonna come out anyways. He's gonna be in future films. You know what I mean? Like they could have easily like it's the same thing anyways, because like he always goes to jail and then he always comes out,
Yeah.
right? That's what
'Cause he's
happened.
rich.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what's going to happen again. They could have just. It could have like it's just like I love Lois. Like I'm not saying anything against her. I'm just saying in this film she wasn't really like her part was too big.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So we've kind of talked about Batman. We talked about Superman. Now everyone has been criticizing the most is Lex Luthor himself. Since we're on the subject now, what do you think of how he was portrayed in the movie?
Should I go first?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, if you love Lex from the comics and you wanted to see that iteration, you're gonna hate this Lex, and that's the truth. However, as a person, I go really open-minded into things. At least I try. And this Lex was Lex who's very early in his stages. He's a person. He has the very similar qualities to what Lex is. He hates Superman. He kind of wants to like prove like that he has something to prove against Superman, and he's very smart. Like how I describe him is basically he feels like he's an adult around a bunch of kindergarten kids, and the kindergarten kids are the one who hold the power. So he finds that very ironic and very stupid. He even says in the film, he's like, what's it called? Having knowledge with no power is paradoxical. And so that's why he's a bit more emotional. He's very immature. And I feel like after the whole, what's it called, prison, he's going to eventually become more mature. He's going to become like Classic Lex. But if you're looking for Classic Lex right now, you're not getting it. If you're looking for Classic Superman right now, you're not getting it. If you're looking for Classic Batman right now, you're not getting it. That's the thing. It's like these characters are slowly becoming into these characters, and that's what I kind of like. It's like it's not a thing where, oh, boom, there's everything that you see. It's almost like
it's a build up to who they really are.
It's like it's an origin film almost, because Superman after he dies, when he comes back, the crowd's slowly they're gonna accept him now, because they've seen what he do. He's not a god. He's mortal, right? And he's risking his life now, because before it was like he's not really doing anything special, because he's not really risking his life. He's doing things for the sake of doing things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bruce even says, he's like, you're not brave, men are brave.
Yeah.
And Bruce is very broken, and he's gonna become inspired from Superman. So in that case, they're playing the long game, and props on them for being so bold. But if you're looking for classic characters right now, you're not getting it.
Okay, now I have a question about Lex. Okay, so in the movie, they talked about like Lex was walking around the building. When they first introduced him, he's like, oh yeah, my father built all this, built the company. He's the Lex in front of LexCorp.
Yeah.
Now, was his father the Lex Luthor we all know and love from the comics, or is he the Lex Luthor that we all know and love?
No, I'm 99.9% sure that he's the Lex that we all know.
Okay, that's what I was so confused about, but because I didn't want to, because I know it was a rumor going around and stuff.
No.
And you can never really believe.
No. The reason because it was a magazine thing on the cover. I think it was Entertainment Week, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Where he said what he was. He was basically the guy who picked up his father's company and made his company even bigger. So and his father's name was Lex Luthor. So he's Lex Luthor Jr. But I think that the only reason they kind of did this is because he appears to be younger than he is. Yeah, because I think that's the reason. I don't and we don't know why people are so confused. He's Lex Luthor in the movie. It's just that simple. It's just like a kind of a thing. I think it's just fan service
Hmm.
for people when they add stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I was basically gonna say is, yeah, no, he is Lex,
Okay.
and the other thing that I was gonna say, what would have added more to Lex was this: we should have seen, like, we should have seen more of almost like a character study towards him, a bit more inside, because he's very interesting because he basically says how his dad would treat him like crap. His dad would inflict abominations towards him, and
Hmm.
God wasn't there to save him, and so and that's why God took his side, his dad's side, and so God takes sides. God is either all powerful or all good. He can't be both, and so people view Superman as either all powerful or all good. So he's trying to prove, people view Superman as God, so he's gonna prove that Superman's either all powerful and he's gonna do everything. He'll kill Batman and he'll beat everything and he'll be this all ruler, right, all powerful, or he's gonna lose at what he's doing and he's gonna be all good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but I also think it is heavily implied that his father beat him, and
Hmm.
I don't think it's because God took sides with his father. I think he sees his father in Superman, and his father wasn't good, and he was all powerful over Lex.
no,
So and he
what I was gonna say is he literally says what I said. He says those
yeah
lines.
Yeah.
He
yeah.
says what's it called? No, God wasn't there to save me from the abominations that Dad inflicted. And he's like how
Yeah.
God takes sides.
Hmm.
Because it was like this whole like because people view because he even says he says a bunch of like a really religious figure like like godlike names, and then he says Kal-El, Clark Joseph Kent. He's
Yeah.
basically saying that you're a god, and I know this is true, that God is either all powerful or all good, and I want to prove the world that you can't be both. You're a fraud. You claim to be
Yeah.
both, right? And you're not. And I just felt like that like people really like because he was very like almost like Shakespearean, right? Like he was talking like very like a Shakespeare play. Like if you watch it again, it seemed like he was almost rhyming when he was speaking, and I felt like that almost kind of threw people off a bit. And so it was very this like, oh wow, look how Lex is speaking. Oh, I don't really know what he's saying. I should pay attention. And now I miss what he's saying, right? Because
Yeah.
like I had to watch the film 4 times, and at the fourth time I realized what he was saying about his dad. I could not understand what he was saying.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's also the biggest thing. No, I'm gonna compare it to the Marvel movies just real quick because in the Marvel movies, they're really simple when it comes to the plots.
Yeah.
Everything is explained. Everything is explained. But in this DC universe, even in Man of Steel and in Batman vs Superman, you have to read between the lines because everything isn't laid out on a welcome carpet.
Yeah.
Uh, you have to actually watch the movie again and see the layers within the movie. Everyone says that Zack Snyder can't do or good stories or something like that, but that's not true. If you watch them again, you see you peel the layers of the movie, and I mean everyone wanted the fight between Batman and Superman to be a clash of ideologies, but I actually liked the way that it was Lex who, because Superman doesn't actually want Batman dead. He just wants him to stop because he's killing people or they're collateral damage
Hmm.
in his quest. So when he goes to the rooftop and confronts Luthor, you see he's really pissed. He's about to kill Lex, and and you see that he doesn't actually want to fight Batman. He just wants him to stop, but he's forced to. You will see it when in the beginning of the fight. He tries to reason with Batman, and when
Yeah.
that doesn't help, he just wants to just shove him down and say, "Dude, calm down. We have to talk." but that's when Batman uses the kryptonite grenade, and that's where everything goes to shit. Because during my first viewing, I thought the fight between the two was shit. Because I thought Superman was a pushover basically. But watching it again, I actually understood what they were going for, because Superman would have killed him with one punch basically if he.
Yeah.
As he said in the movie, if I wanted it, you'd be dead already.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, like to people who are basically saying that, I want to say that everyone loved the Dark Knight Returns, the both the comic and the animated film fight, and that was literally what this is. Superman doesn't want to fight; he's being forced to fight from the government, and he has to take Batman down. That's literally what it is. Superman is being forced to fight. Batman wants to basically kill Superman. They just have Batman has a different motive, and Superman has a different circumstance. That's literally what this film is. And like, I just don't get how people who said, oh, I really want this fight to be like that, and now can walk out and say, oh, I really wish that they would have made it more more of ideologies, when the Dark Knight Returns comic and thing was not about ideologies. It was about Superman basically living in this world where he works for almost America, and he's and to that point, people really hated that, and like people are like, oh, it goes against Superman's character, and this was more towards Superman's character. Is how he's not just gonna fight because the government's saying it, right? He's gonna fight based on like where he's almost being forced to fight, and that's what he was doing. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I'll take care of the trash president.
Yeah, and it's also I think it's also implied and said that Luthor actually knows the identity of Batman and Superman.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he says it.
He says for
with Superman, he says Jason something Kent.
Clark.
Jason
Kent.
Yeah, something like that.
He even says what's it called? It didn't take too long, just a couple just a year or two of dabbling in notes, and then saying your family died, which basically Bruce gets to his address, and so he did know who Thing was. My one other small issue with the film was that they should have just. You remember how when Diana gets the email?
Mm-hmm.
They should have just shown the logos, and then cut it, and in the extended edition, shown everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that would have like done a lot more. Like, cause there's this whole, cause when I watched the Screen Junkies basically talk about it, right? And what's it called? Where I don't agree with some of the things they say. One of the things that one of the members said, whose name is Dan Murrell, he basically says, he's like, as an editing choice, it was interesting because at that point it was rising conflict, right? It was where Superman finally gets his thing. He's like, what's that called? Maybe good people don't exist or something like that, right? And then he flies off, and at that point you assume that he's gonna come down. But then it cuts to basically a slower scene where it's basically Diana is just looking through the email, where it was really a weird choice to put that thing there, and that's my biggest issue with the film. Is I think I didn't like the editing at all. I think the editing was done poorly.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because like if you guys watch it again, right, just try to like look at the transitions where some of them are like fine, but some of them are just really weird. Like when Lois comes back from the Africa scene, right, there's this whole she's walking to her mail, and then it cuts like while she's going through her mail. Like they didn't need that. This is how I describe the film, right? And this is what even in my review, I basically said this. I'm like, it's like they were given an essay that was 1,000 words and they wrote 1,100. And now they're basically taking out letters, trying to trim the film down. You know what I mean? Like their draft was great, and if you actually read what the editor said, he's like, the first cut was 4 hours.
Holy hell.
There were so many other like stories that they cut, and I feel like some of the other where we think are Easter eggs, they actually played in a lot more. Like I felt like the whole Mother Box and Cyborg scene would have played a lot more. I felt like they would have had like more things, because there's this whole other thing where what's the editor, Perry White, he was telling Clark Kent to write about a football player's career who was destroyed, And
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah, he's like
He's into
Yeah.
that. He has like a headline for him. Hey,
yeah.
Kent, you read about this football? A follow up on this football story. Football hero something something, and he says
I knew it
that.
was underdogs.
Yeah. And the
It's
other
very
thing,
subtle. It's very
yeah.
subtle.
Yeah. But that's the thing, right? That seems subtle, but in the first cut, they what's it called? One of the scenes that they basically cut out was because they were shooting in a football stadium with
Mm.
Metropolis thing and Gotham thing. They were playing against each other, and there's like people who are credited, right? That are completely like cut out, and it's like I think that that would have tied into thing, and I felt like it would have added a lot more
Hmm.
to some of the other storylines. I just felt like in it the first half of the film felt more like just like they were just trying to show everyone's perspective when some of the perspective didn't need to be shown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair criticism. I'm seeing in the group someone posted saying JT says I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you've seen the fans react. The critics are whatever, but fans I've seen reacted totally different, etc., etc. What are your thoughts?
I felt like you see that's the thing, right? It's like if I was just my fan and just watched it the one time, I would have given this film a 4.5 out of 5,
Mhm.
right? But you have to look at stuff objectively, right? And that's the truth. It's like what's like I don't I like both Marvel and DC, right?
Mhm.
But when
Yeah,
you
so
look
do I.
at yeah, but when you look at this film, right, you can't like there's things that are really good, but there's like things that like where the whole the editing is I didn't like the editing, right? There's things that they could have easily taken out and made this film a bit more like clear. Where at the first for the first half, I'm not joking with you. Even in my first viewing, I'm like, so what's the story?
Yeah.
Right until like it just feels like it felt like almost like a diary thing where it's like oh and then this person is doing this and then this person is doing this when there's no transition between the characters like
It's kind of all like a setup. Like I know it was supposed to be like Bruce pretty much getting ready to fight Superman, but it takes a long, long time until he actually gets ready. There's probably like 5 minutes to where he's actually like he's cutting down the kryptonite and he's actually like working out a lot to actually like get ready to fight Superman. Like that's the whole movie pretty much is fighting Superman, and there's 5 minutes, maybe even less, of just him getting ready to do that, and that's it.
yeah
And like
well
it would
like
have been nice if it would have showed him like him and Alfred building the armor. Like you only got to see a small little bit of that in the beginning, and they only see like a little bit of it. Like if he would have actually like when testing it out and stuff, and was like trying to get it perfect, that would have been very nice to see.
yeah
Um, I've also seen a lot of people when it comes to the fans. A lot of people have reacted way different compared to all the critics because
Oh, yeah.
critics have just been shitting all over this movie.
Mhm.
Just looking at Rotten Tomatoes, they
It's got like a 23%, I think.
but
yeah
that's
something like
yeah but that's the thing right it's like all the critics that I follow right like I'll tell you who I follow Chris Stuckman right Jeremy Johns the Schmoes and Collider and the lowest rating that I've seen was one of the Collider people who gave it a 5.6 but everyone else had it above 6 which in Rotten Tomatoes is a positive score right
Yeah.
so I just feel like I don't really trust Rotten Tomatoes as much as I trust the
No.
people who I follow, and so I'm fine because the person who I follow the most is John Campea, and like he gave it what's it called? At first he gave it an 8, right? Then he gave it a 7.5, which I'm completely content with. Like that's it makes sense. You know what I mean? So like people who actually see things objectively they're giving valid reasons to why they didn't think this film was good because like let's be real here if we didn't know like because for example Marvel right is like less viewed right so like they need to explain stuff like that's
Yeah.
the truth it's like what's it called they need to explain stuff and like they can get away with stuff a lot more because for example the whole in Civil War right like I haven't seen the film so maybe they do this but in Civil War the comic Captain America dies at the end right
Oh,
yeah I know.
I haven't read the comic. yet.
But
Yeah, well, in the comics, basically, what Captain America does, and the guy in between both of them is Spider-Man, and he unmasks him. No, he unmasks himself in the comics, but in the movie, it seems to be Bucky.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But my whole thing with but my whole point is that if that's like if that was DC and they didn't do that, people would lose their crap. Okay?
Yeah.
But like if DC does like a storyline where, let me think of a storyline off the top of my head. Like if they did like I don't know, if they did like what's it called? Under the Red Hood and like Joker's not there, you know what I mean? Or like or it's not Jason Todd who's in Under the Red Hood, like people would lose their crap. Whereas if Marvel does something like that, people don't really care. It's because DC's so more established. They need to be more careful, but they're used to DC creators are used to taking their own adding their own spins into their characters.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
whereas it's more established, so they should try to make it a bit more closer to the comics, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then like for Marvel, a lot, like I believe you said this, for Marvel, not a lot of people have really read the comics. Like I personally have not read a lot of Marvel comics. So like let's say the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, that did amazing in the box office. Before that movie, I've never even heard of them. Everyone in DC,
I was one of the few.
Yeah, like I have absolutely just never heard of them before. Like I was like, who? Like what? And for DC, everyone has heard of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and it's just everybody's heard of them. So they're household names. They have this mental picture in their mind. This is how they're supposed to look. This is how they're supposed to act. If they don't act like this, then that movie's terrible. And that's kind of like what Batman v Superman did with Batman killing. Everyone's like, okay, Batman does not kill, and he killed. Everybody's like,
just with that point, Batman did kill in the first Batman movie in 1989, where he killed a factory full of workers. He killed the Joker even.
But that's not to go against that. That's not typically what people are referring to when they say Batman does not kill.
Yeah, no, but also in the Dark Knight trilogy, he kills Ra's, he kills Harvey Dent, he kills people. Yeah, but technically, you know what I mean. It's basically the same thing as Batman versus Superman, and he kills the people in the tank that they shoot the missiles against him in Dark Knight Rises. He basically kills them as well, and Talia al Ghul. So the whole argument that he doesn't kill, it's kind of
it's not really supported in the cinematic universe.
But what I was basically gonna say is that he doesn't what in the Dark Knight series, right? He doesn't directly kill anyone, and whereas I would be completely fine if they had the whole film and they didn't have the the Batmobile sequence, I would have argued to my death that that's exactly how Batman's supposed to be. Okay. Mm-hmm. My problem was the Batmobile sequence, where he was completely running through cars.
Yeah.
And that's not Batman's character. That's my thing. That sequence did kind of annoy me, where it was that's not really Batman's thing. Batman's he wouldn't really do that in all the Batmans that I've seen, because my favorite Batman was the game Batman, right? That's just how he is. His whole thing is that he's seen he goes up to he's seen his parents die from criminals, and he doesn't even view these people as criminals. There's many stories where he just sees the people as sick, right? They're people who are very ill and sick, and that's one of the reasons why he doesn't kill them, because he just he's these people are very sick. You know what I mean?
And they need help, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he sees. He's these people are doing terrible things, but it's they're almost they're sick, and it's just I'm totally fine with him breaking. I just wish that we would have seen his breaking point.
Yeah, how he broke and exactly what happened.
That's a legitimate point. But you also have to what I think the movie is going for is that Batman is the villain, and he with Robin dying and the Man of Steel ending, where everyone pretty much dies. That's what picks him over the edge, basically.
I mean, you can't really blame him for hating Superman, because if I lived in a major city and all of a sudden I think the one reason why he hated Superman too was the little girl and how she lost her mom, because the building collapsed. And if that happened to me, if I saw a little girl and her mother just died, like pretty much right in front of her eyes when the building collapsed, I would hate that guy. I would personally do everything I could to stop him.
Right, but I'm going to play a bit more devil advocate here because I kind of like the scene too, but my whole thing is if you can't really use Robin as a scene because that's very inaccessible. People don't really know about Robin, especially the general audience, right?
Yeah.
So you can't really use it as an argument to say, oh, Batman's lost that. You can say the girl thing. However, my point against that is that he had no personal ties to the girl. So yes, he could be pissed off, but he probably already had a personal feud against him. That would be fueled even further.
Well, he had his friend in the building. He had his friend in the building.
But again, we never had any all we know is that he's just someone who he knew and who he who he works with. You know what I mean? There's no oh, that's my what's it called, dad, or that's my what's it called, really close friend. You know what I mean? There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing there's no personal connection that we would have been, oh my God, man, he died. Now you know what? I wish Thing dies. I wish Superman dies. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. It just feels like the character who's very broken, who I would have accepted to be broken if we would have seen some of his personal family die, further than what's it called, because that's a kid, right? And there's this whole thing where I felt like the film was everything was there. That's my thing. The story, everything was there. They had hints at basically Batman was good before. They had because they had this whole the thing where when he's rising from the bats, he goes in the dream they took me to the light. What a beautiful lie. Because in every Batman story, he starts off as this he accepts Batman when the bats basically come in and he stands and he closes his eyes or whatever and he lets the bats do whatever they're doing. That's his first crusade, and he says that they took me to the light, which is white and which is pure, but it was a beautiful lie because he doesn't believe in his initial crusade anymore. And that's from a person who's very what's it called, analyzing this. And I felt like they should have shown that a bit more, where he had an initial crusade and it's broken now.
Yeah, fair enough. So, I'm kind of gonna want to go to the future aspect of the DC Cinematic Universe now. Since we had the nightmare scene and having a little bit of foreboding and with the cameos, are you hopeful towards the new DC Cinematic Universe?
Oh yeah. No, I think it's gonna do wonders. I was gonna say how I just feel like next time when they're making a film, they shouldn't try to make it 4 hours. They should try to make a cut that's at least 3 hours, and then once they cut it won't feel that bad. But when you make a cut that's 4 hours, right, and then you try cutting down even further, it would really show a bit more, right? Because you're cutting down basically story points. Whereas if they had it a 4 hour cut and then they basically cut it down to 3 hours and that was a theatrical, it would have been a lot better. I feel like the one thing I'm really excited about is Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad, because it's going to bring a real tone shift in the DCEU. Because I feel like now, because it was 2 dark films in a row, right, almost, where you at this point we almost feel because once you walk out of a really dark film, you almost feel like you're exhausted, right? That's how typically a dark film feels like. And I feel like we're now, because he even said, well, Chris Terrio basically says he's he finds Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League as almost like a trilogy where the Batman v Superman is a Empire Strikes Back, and then Justice League is going to be a bit more lighter in tone. So I feel like what's it called? And not lighter as in Marvel, but I mean lighter as in they it's a bit less the world is always crap, and everyone's you know what I mean? Everyone's always depressed and stuff like that. And I just feel like that's going to be a bit more interesting, and this tone shift is going to be really, really cool.
Also, me personally, after seeing the cameos, at least the Flash cameo, that really, really makes me excited, because we've never had I don't believe we've had a cinematic DC movie besides the animated ones. And what I'm really excited for is how or when Superman breaks after Lois Lane dies. And I'm really excited to see all of them send Flash to the past and see him try to bring Bruce and like have him know. And I'm really
Yeah.
excited for that. And I really love the actor for the Flash because I
Yeah.
saw The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and I
Yeah.
absolutely love that movie.
Yeah.
That actor, I forgot his name. It's like
Ezra
Ezelia.
Miller. Ezra Miller.
Yeah, as remember.
Yeah.
Just a real quick side note. I'm kind of sick of people advocating for Grant Gustin to be the Flash for the DC Cinematic. First of all, that would confuse the hell out of
Oh,
people.
yeah, that would.
And second of all, that would make the Flash TV series to be cancelled because
Mhm.
he has to spend like, I don't know, 9 months to prepare and film Justice League. And again, it would make the TV series so low budget and so stupid, because that would mean Arrow and Supergirl are suddenly in Justice League, which would also make no sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then also in an interview, he also talked about how the actor for the cinematic Flash, he talked about how for the Flash for the TV show, that's a completely different dimension, kind of like this whole different world than him. And I like
Yeah,
that
it's
how
basically Earth 2. It's
yeah.
basically Earth 2.
So that's
It's
kind of
it's a funny way to do or link it in. Even though they're not linked, they're kind of linked in a way.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
like
Fun thing.
I was gonna say Zachary. Okay, so
Yeah.
the nightmare sequence, right? Because I had this
Yeah.
whole thing where basically Flash came out of nowhere, right? And it was
Mhm.
almost like a shock at first, right? My
Yeah.
whole thing was basically what would have been even better is if when Bruce gets caught, right? And
Yeah.
then he's just about to die. Flash sees it, and then he runs back in time, and then he
That-
comes back. I felt
That
like
would've been cool.
they should have shown Flash in the nightmare sequence,
Yeah.
and then he starts running because he realized that they lost, and
Yeah,
then
like
he
they
runs
messed
back.
up pretty much.
Yeah, and then he runs back in time, and I felt like that would have been like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Right?
that would have been like I probably would have broke down in tears if that would have happened because I would have been so happy. Like
No,
when
well, I
first-
also think. Oh,
like
go
I
ahead.
almost broke down in tears. Like when I first saw him, I was like, okay, like that's when I fully accepted him as the Flash. Even though I kind of did at first, I was just like, okay, this guy, he's amazing. Like this actor is perfect, absolutely just amazing for the Flash. I could see him as the Flash, and I guess I don't even think he cares. I give him my blessing to like pass down for the Flash.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I was gonna say how I felt like that would have made it a bit less inaccessible for some people who had no clue who the hell
Yeah.
he was, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just feel like this film, like where Easter eggs are great and they're like great for the fans. This film tried to make Easter eggs into a whole new level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like it took Easter eggs and it was trying to like attach them to the plot, whereas they could have easily like actually made them part of the plot.
Well, then also, I think the Easter eggs, I guess they weren't for the average like moviegoer. They were pretty much only for like comic book fans. Like that was
Yeah,
it. Like,
it is for the
only
fans.
like
Right.
Like,
No,
only-
yeah, I agree with you. Whereas, like, you know, like if you've seen stuff like where we talk about the newspaper thing, right?
Yeah.
Whereas that's a great Easter egg, right?
Mhm.
And like stuff like that's cool. But if you put stuff like as like because like the Flash thing acts like almost like a motivator for Bruce,
Yeah.
right? Where at this point he like I feel like that's weird because now the common audience, because we know that's a Flash coming from
Yeah.
from the future. The common audience doesn't know that. To them, it's a
Yeah.
random person appearing out of nowhere that they know nothing about, and he's
Mhm.
basically saying this random gibberish to Bruce. All like they don't know anything about that. You know what I mean? So to them, it's just
Yeah.
like it's out of left field. It feels weird, and like
Yeah.
like that's a good criticism that you can say. I felt like if they would have introduced him in the nightmare sequence, then we would have been like,
yeah.
he's a member of he knows Bruce and he's coming
Yeah.
from the future, to tell him, and he's like, you know, what's it called? Here, what's it called? Well, you need to hear me. Everything's gone to crap. You need to, like, you know, that would have added a lot more versus, like, because at that point we could have even seen the suit, and we could have even easily known that's the Flash. Bruce could have even said, he's like, the moment he realizes that what's it called, the parademons here, he's like, he could have been like, Barry, whatever, go back. I don't know. It could have been anything, but like they could have easily like kind of hinted at who he was. Yeah. Rather than it come out of left field, we don't know who it is, and it seems like it's for the fans, and it was literally for like 4 minutes.
Yeah, and then also, like, when I went and saw it with a bunch of friends and with my parents, they had absolutely no idea. I had to explain, or try to explain. Sorry, my cat is making a lot of noise right now. She's gone crazy right now. And I had to try to at least explain the Speed Force to them, and what it exactly was, and how you can travel back in time using the Speed Force, and they were just like, their minds were just not processing it. So it was very hard for an average moviegoer to actually see, like, okay, this is the Flash. He can go back in time. He can tap into another dimension called the Speed Force that allows him to run fast and do all this and that. And if you don't watch the TV show, which none of my friends or my parents do, because I'm the only DC nerd pretty much. You don't understand who the Flash is, pretty much, unless you read comics or you watch the TV show. You can watch the movie as much as you want, and you can be like, okay, he's the Flash, but what is he doing? You're not going to understand how he got there, how he got to see Bruce, why he's talking about Lois Lane, why he's talking about how Superman's evil, how he's going on a rampage. And
like it would have been nice. That's the other thing. In the fully extended edition, right? What's it called? Supposedly the nightmare sequence is supposed to be longer, which I feel like they could easily do go into that. I was gonna say, for the two people that joined, what's your initial impressions of Batman v Superman?
My initial impressions?
Just generalize it.
Like overall, pretty much, just how was it?
It was, well, it was kind of like a Jesus story to me. Like, it was weird that it was on Easter, and then all of a sudden it just turned into this, like, I mean, it had a lot to do with the comics, don't get me wrong. I mean, I read lots of comics, and I've seen lots of DC animated, and seen a lot of previous stuff. I went in there not expecting what I saw. I came out there pretty happy, though. Like, I saw a whole new universe just open right up, and it's going to be like something I've never seen before. And I'm almost 44 years old, so I've been around since the very beginning, pretty much, well, except for like my granddad and stuff like that.
The DCEU, pretty much, then.
Yeah, I've been around quite a bit, so I've seen a lot. I was blown away. My friend was kind of like, he's more of a Marvel guy, and he was looking at it like there was a lot of questions. He came out with a lot of questions, like, what about this, and what about that, and what about this, and you think it was like, the DC animated, Batman versus Superman and the war, and I said, well, it reminded me of like 5 different, maybe 6 different comic books that were kind of like joined together, and then you get this result, and I thought it was awesome. I really did.
What I was gonna say,
my take.
Yeah. I actually agree with you with the whole Jesus thing, but like I felt like they needed to do that because like they created such a realistic world where if we had a storyline where like in reality where thing came down, where a Superman would come down, he would be very like idolized, right?
Oh yeah.
Because up to this point he's very godlike. We're like because nothing can hurt him. Right? Like our biggest trait as humans is our mortality, right? And so even Lex Luthor says he's like you're either all powerful or all good. You can't be both, like God, right? So the whole thing is the only way humans can accept him is if they see that he's mortal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's what happens. And at the end, like, because that's the thing, they want to make him more iconic. I had a feeling that they wanted to make him like iconic Superman, but it wouldn't make sense to just make him iconic Superman like this, especially after all the stuff that happened. They have to take their steps. I feel like when Justice League comes, we're gonna get our iconic Batman, our iconic Superman, and then Lex is gonna, after prison, is gonna be more like matured.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that definitely. Like, he's not twitchy anymore. That's what a lot of people didn't like Lex for, because he was so twitchy and mumbly and kind of didn't find, like, in the Lex that we all know and love from, like, the DC animated series and the movies and stuff, that he's, like, really bold and strong and he speaks his mind.
He's more in
he
control.
knows-
This one is.
Yeah, like he's president. He's president.
Yeah, he's less mature.
And
And
Curcio,
now he's just twitchy.
Curcio, do you have any thoughts?
I thought the movie was okay. The only problem I had with the movie, it was his pacing, and I got the feeling that's gonna mirror to future movies, especially Justice League, because everything when I watched the movie, they had way too many plot lines going on. You have Lois Lane doing this. You have Lex manipulating Superman and Batman. If all this stuff going on, and me and my brothers were there watching the movie, and I came with somewhat realization of the movie, but mostly just questions, like what Brandon's friends said. So hopefully, because after the movie, they put more character into the next few movies, especially Suicide Squad, because I heard they had to redo scenes
stuff,
in the movie, to fit what they got from Batman vs Superman.
No,
I thought it was okay. The only thing I didn't understand was with the dream that Batman had. I'm not sure if it was Infinite Crisis or Injustice.
That's the whole point. It's people who are supposed to leave with questions about that, so that because this is supposed to act like a prequel to Justice League, so people are supposed to be like, what's that whole world about? What's the possible future for Darkseid? And that was the whole point for that. My thing was I was gonna say about I completely lost my train of thought.
Well, we can go to one of the questions.
Okay.
In the group says. He asks about about the music in the movie. Did you like the music of the movie?
I personally, I completely loved it. I thought it fit everything. I thought it fit all the scenes that it was in, and I really want to go out and buy the soundtrack on vinyl. But it's a lot of money to buy it. It's like $40, I think. And but I personally, the soundtrack and the way the music works with the action and just with everything that's going on, it's dark and it's serious. It's not like just like a freaking Bieber song, I don't know, going on in the background. It's dark musical, it's actual music. I would say it's orchestra and stuff like that. And it's serious. It's like gives you this set in mind. It's like, okay, this is about to happen. There's about to be a fight that's gonna go on, and it's gonna be crazy. And it's nice to have. It kind of gets you prepared for that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I like the music. I was gonna also say how I felt like the music was very good. I like some of the themes. And so the one thing I wanted to go back on was kind of tell what's his name. I forgot the guy's name. In Crucio. I don't know what his actual name is, but you said the pacing, right? Well, one of the things that kind of goes back to that is because the first cut, because you weren't here before, the first cut of the film was 4 hours. And that plays a lot to it. Because
you can tell.
Because when you first write a script, right? Because scripts are usually 1 page per 1 minute, approximately, right? So when you first write a script, right? If they wrote for let's say 3 hours, right, and then cut it down to 2.5, we wouldn't be able to tell. Okay?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I've seen that.
But they're cutting from 4 hours to 2.5. That's an hour and a half of story, plot lines that they completely cut, and stuff they completely left out, which in my opinion, I didn't like the editing at all. So it showed, right? I feel like for Justice League, because they have 2 parts, they could easily write a 6 hour script and then cut it into 2, which is one of the reasons why I feel like it's going to be better.
I think they're going to actually film part 1 and part 2 simultaneously.
Yeah,
Kind of like
yeah,
Lord
they
of the
are.
Rings,
They are.
you know?
Yeah, I believe they are.
It makes sense because I mean Ben's going to get older, Henry's going to get older, everybody's just like, you know what I mean? And if somebody dies, like we don't want anybody to die for real, but if they do, then that really screws it up, like the whole Paul Walker thing, you know? It's hard, like they're lucky to get his brother in, but you know what I mean? Like it would be very tough to replace Ben Affleck or something, you know?
Yeah. And then Ben Affleck, he's 46 years old, and he's filming action shots and everything. And any accident can happen. Like from now to the new Batman movie that just got released, this just got announced, something terrible could happen, and all of a sudden we lose Ben Affleck.
But that's the one good thing about what's it called, Batman, is that he wears like a cowl, right?
Yeah.
So
you
he
can't
could
tell.
easily.
Really.
Yeah, you can't tell because like he has a stunt double, right?
They could CGI and his
like he has
and chin.
Yeah, even in this film, he had a stunt double, right? So like,
he
could easily he like you won't even really be able to tell.
Well then just like the Bruce Wayne scenes, because I love Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. His attitude to Bruce Wayne was amazing, and it was exactly like the animated series, like how when he's around other people, I guess like he puts his voice a little bit higher and he talks like a playboy, pretty much like a playboy kind of guy who just doesn't care. Like, oh yeah, it's all about me. And then once they leave, he you can tell in his face, it just drops and he gets serious. And he's just like, okay, it's go time. That's what I love about Ben Affleck. He can do that. Not a lot of actors can do that. Like Christian Bale, I loved Christian Bale as Batman. I didn't really care for him as Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne, I was like,
I actually felt the complete opposite.
Oh really?
I thought he did like a good Bruce Wayne, but I didn't like him as Batman. And it's not him as Batman. It's not him as Batman. I felt like the direction for Batman, right, wasn't Batman for me. Yeah. Right. Like
on his voice. Like I hated that.
That's a point I really wanted to bring up because one of the reviewers he pointed out something, and I feel like this is something goes back to what I was saying about Marvel, or Marvel can do this and get away with it. Is like this guy basically said he didn't like Man of Steel, but he's like as a film that's not about Superman, just like a sci-fi film, he thought it was good, and that's the thing, right? It's like Marvel like fans are more generalized, so they don't really know if you do that. And so they'll like the film anyways. So it's just like when you look at the Dark Knight trilogy, right? Like that's not really Batman, but Nolan got away with it because he was trying to make it more realistic. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like it's interesting when you see some people can easily get away with taking like directions that other people can't.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting a lot of noise, Darren. Sorry, Darren. Yeah, sorry about that. You're gonna get your turn. I kind of wanna do the closing things where everyone gets to say their mind. We passed the hour mark, so I don't want to go further than this. So I'm gonna go through every one of you. Talk about. I'm gonna go with from my right to the left. So I'm going to start with Zachary. Your favorite part of the movie and your least favorite part.
Oh, that is so hard. I had several favorite parts. I have to think. Okay, so I guess what I really liked, and I also disliked, was the part where Wonder Woman or Diana was walking off the plane, and they said her name, like Miss Diana Prince or just Miss Prince, and I didn't like that, and I loved that at the same time because that's the only time they ever say her name in the movie. And I'm just thinking, like, if they would have talked about her more and actually said her name a lot more, that would have been a lot better. Then also they actually at least said her name at least once, so you kind of know who she is, and she's not only Wonder Woman, she's Diana, and that kind of gets you ready for the Wonder Woman movie. But I guess my all-time favorite part would have to be the workout for getting ready for the fight. I love that because it kind of tells like how serious Batman is about fighting Superman. Like he really wants him, like he kills him, like he really wants to kill him. and it kind of gets you like in that mindset, like, okay, this is how bad he wants it. This is how, like, his reasoning and stuff. Like he's putting himself through a lot just to do this for this one single fight. And also, like, in this movie, Batman's like 40 something, and he can still do that, all of that. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's some of my favorite parts.
Kaiser.
All right, so my favorite part, and it's still my favorite part, is when it's right after when Superman got radiated, and then he finally gets his stuff back, and he gets the glowing eyes, and then he flies in, and at that point, Bruce Wayne just got hit by Doomsday, so he fell, and then Wonder Woman comes down and does her thing, and then she hits Doomsday, and then Superman comes in and hits Doomsday, and then there's a big fire, and then they're like standing there, and that I'm like. Yeah. Every single time that happens, I'm like, whoever's sitting beside me, I tap them. I'm like, that's the Trinity, guys.
Yeah.
Freaking incredible, man. Like that's the part that gets me every single time. So I would say like it's between that or the Batman fight sequence where he's trying to save Martha. It's between those two, but for me, it's the Trinity scene.
Yeah, I could see that too.
So was your favorite parts? What was it? Your favorite parts, and then your least favorite parts?
Yeah, you can go first here, Darren. Well, you can take several if you can't decide. So,
well, my very, very favorite part of the whole entire movie was the time where the lady and her family were on the rooftop, and
during the flood,
was floating. Yeah, he was floating up in the sky, and then it emotionally it moved me. Like I was like sitting there, and my buddy was like, he wasn't fazed, but I was like, I felt like that was a tear-jerking moment for me. Like I was like watching that, and it's like they were screwed if Superman wasn't there. They would have been dead. So I mean, that was like one of my favorite parts of the movie, and the fighting scene with Batman. I thought that was like kick-ass, totally worth every penny. And my least favorite part was the questions about Lex at the end. You know, like he was in the prison, and I know that Batman shows up there, and it's like, but there was like a chunk that was missing, somewhat in between there, that it left me with a lot of questions after. But then I kind of saw other people talking on Facebook and whatnot, and they kind of, and then I saw the mother boxes that were released and all that stuff, and I kind of put two and two together, and I figured, well, okay, yeah, he's talking about Darkseid coming. Mm-hmm. That was my least favorite part of it, I guess.
Yeah, there is also the deleted scene. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I that's what I mean. The deleted scene, I didn't know about it quite. Like I knew Darkseid was going to be coming because of the nightmare sequence, and I thought that was another good part too as well. Like I really liked the Flash jumping in there, and I really thought that added to the movie. So. But I heard that Joker was supposed to be in it, Riddler was supposed to be in it, but they removed it.
Ooh, that would have been nice.
It would have been too much. They said it was going to be like, it would have been crazy, and then people would have probably, got
that was just an idea.
Out,
Yeah. That would have been nice though to see Riddler.
I think they put the Riddler though in it's the same. It's Jay Leto or whatever his name is.
Jared Leto.
Yeah. So it would have been the same Joker. So, and I think they would have, there was that part about Batman and Robin, that part about, the whole Jason Todd thing. Mm-hmm. So they cut that out too. We'll probably find out like that extra hour or a half hour. Yeah. We'll probably get to see all that.
Also in the Batman movie too that's coming out, we'll definitely get more questions answered, I believe.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon for them to take footage from one movie and move it into another movie.
Oh, God,
I mean, it's very similar. The whole, Batman versus Superman, and as well as the Death Squad, or Suicide Squad. So I mean, it's like same kind of footage, same kind of suits, same kind of everything, And Harley's cool.
I just wanted to say, I just wanted to say one small thing. I was gonna say and I know they're probably not going to do it, but what would have been amazing is if in every single film, right at the start, they show a sequence of the film from someone else's perspective.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Ooh, yeah.
So, like, right at the start of Suicide Squad, you perhaps, like, see, like, Amanda Waller watching the Doomsday fight.
Oh yeah, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Or
And
like
like her take on
cool.
yeah, and then like Wonder Woman shows someone else and stuff like that. Like that,
Yeah, that would've been-
instead of like a what's it called, an after credit scene, they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not bad. Okay, and Curcio, what favorite part and least favorite part?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap this up because my battery's gonna die. So my favorite part about the movie was the Doomsday fight and the Batman fight. The only worst part that I didn't like was just both of those scenes because the Batman fight versus Superman fight didn't last too long. The Doomsday fight, I get the feeling that it was just needed there just to push for Justice League, but it could have been an entirely separate plot, like the sequel to the first Superman movie. But all in all, it wrapped up pretty well, and I'm actually okay with it. But I got like one question for like all you. With the recent success of Deadpool, and if Batman vs Superman, the rated R version that has an hour of footage, does a lot better than the actual PG-13 release, do you think DC will encourage more R-rated superhero movies?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
I don't.
Oh, really?
Deadpool's R rating had nothing to do with its success. It's the character, and I've actually talked about this on my channel. What's it called? I actually believe that it would be completely different direction, but with today's PG-13, it would have been possible to satisfy the fans with a PG-13. It just wouldn't have been as vulgar. It would have been a completely different side of Deadpool. But an R rating has nothing to do with it. I actually feel like the problem with the movie was the fact that its first cut was 4 hours, and the reason why everyone's gonna like the second cut is because it's 3 hours, and it's gonna have a lot more of the original story that was cut out.
Well, then also, like, there's a rumor going around that the director of Deadpool, he's talking with Warner Brothers for a possible movie about Lobo, and I think that'd be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that much about him, but what I've heard is that if they made a movie about him, it should be rated R.
Yeah.
And also, I think a rated R Batman movie also would be very cool to see, like more violence. Like the latest Batman game was rated M for mature, and that was easily the best. I think that was the best Batman game that's come out yet. It was so violent, and yet it was so Batman. Like that's how Batman is. He'll go to the greatest mile, but not kill. Pretty much, like not kill directly. Like, he'll break skulls. He'll break any bone. He'll rupture kidney. He'll like pop a kidney on some guy's body, but he won't kill them. And that's just kind of nice to see because PG-13, they probably won't really show that much of it.
Well,
like him actually.
Unfortunately, we'll never get a PG-13 Batman anytime soon.
Yeah.
We're not. Because the thing is Batman makes way too much money. Second of all, the reason why that the game got away with it is because Call of Duty and other games have proven that you don't, even if it's rated M for mature, kids are still going to easily play it, right? Yeah. So it's like gaming is a completely different realm in that sense, and like it's just like they're not going to make it PG-13.
Well, there are some movies like, some stories about like The Killing Joke, for instance. I mean, you can't make that a PG movie. I mean, you just couldn't.
No. You can't.
God no. The major plot, the whole movie would be like the first, 15 minutes of the movie. That would be a pretty bad chunk to take out.
Mm-hmm.
They can't
really be worth to watch it.
They can't make unless they change it. They can't really make a Killing Joke movie. Well, they are changing it in the animated version. Like they're adding more. They're not changing it. They're adding more stuff to it because the original comic was like 30 pages.
It was like 30 to 60 pages. It was very short comic.
Yeah. So like even in the animated film, like they're showing like that whole stuff's happening in the past and they're showing it in the future. But I was gonna say, Andrea, what's your favorite scene?
I'm gonna go with my least favorite. I think it's probably the scene with the senator because I think there's something cut out there, and so a little bit of noise. I think that's why that scene doesn't really go right with me, because I think there's dialogue missing there. Didn't really have the impact I thought it would. Favorite scene, it's probably when Wonder Woman joins the fight with Doomsday.
I actually loved the Senator scene. Funny
I love
enough.
the end about it, like Superman's face after after the wheelchair exploded.
Yeah, I felt
Superman's
so sad.
face, like that was
so
like a
sad.
single tear just came down. Like
Yeah.
you could tell he's so mad at himself because he
He's
let
just-
all those people
yeah.
die.
I was gonna say how what's it called? Is anyone here with me that Warner Brothers should release a drink called Granny's Peach Tea?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Come
Got
on.
Yeah.
They should
Why
release
not?
a drink called Granny's Peach Tea. That would be incredible.
I would drink. That's like the only thing I'd drink for a week straight would just be Granny's peach tea.
Granny's peach tea. Oh, that's pretty funny.
That was a good scene though. I like that scene, like how she just saw it. Like she like that moment of shock on her face.
She's like, "Am I drinking his piss?
yeah,
What's
and then,
going on?"
And then Lex isn't there, and then all of a sudden just exploded, and then that scene was a
Well,
really
what
good
I-
emotional moment.
What happened, Derek?
Jesse Eisenberg actually ad-libbed that. That was totally ad-libbed from what I read. He just put that into the movie. You know, it's like one of those things where
wait, what?
Like
Which
not
part?
scripted.
Yeah, it's non-scripted. It was Jesse Eisenberg, Lex. He put
Yeah.
the whole idea and concept of the peach tea. I think I read it. I watched it actually in the video, and I
that's
read
cool.
it too.
Oh
Because-
wow.
So,
Because Thing actually says it. The senator actually says it.
Oh yeah.
right. She actually says it, but I think it was Jesse that was the one that came up with the idea to
Probably.
create the peach tea. So
Yeah,
it
that
was a
really
good
cool.
thing.
Yeah.
I love how she says it. She's like, because he's such a power hungry character, right? So it's really interesting because she tries to take control of the power. And she's like, whatever you do, you're not going to change the situation, right? You can call whatever you want to call, whatever you like. You know what I mean? You can piss in a bucket and call the Granny's peach tea. I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to you. And then he does it, and then she probably drinks it. And
Oh yeah,
then,
she drinks it.
Oh my God, it's
Oh
brilliant.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and then she
really
drinks it,
good.
then she just looks at it and just stares at it and turns it around to slowly say Granny's peach tea.
Probably,
Yeah, but
Jesse's peach.
Yeah, but I think that the reason is because I think there's some dialogue missing. That's
Oh yeah.
that's just my impression. Anyways, I'm gonna cut the stream here, and we can continue off air. I just wanted to do a test run of this, and if you guys wanna join this on another occasion, I just wanted to see if people actually wanted to join. So yeah, I'm gonna go off air. Anything you wanna share, like your Twitter or anything like that?
If anybody likes it feels really bad to like a shameless plug right here. I do YouTube. It's I guess funny gaming videos. Me and my friends will do. YouTube.com/mini MINI hyphen, which is just like a little minus sign, Michael MICHAEL, and we post funny little gaming moments that we do.
Awesome. I'll have to check that out.
My channel, I make film reviews and I'll do reactions sometimes. But like, I'm actually gonna post a film that I just made soon, and my channel is KHIZER Talks. That's Kizzer Talks, and my Twitter is Fanatic Express. Don't ask why. It just is. But yeah, just. What happened?
Yeah, you can put all of that in the comment of the video. I can put the link up here in the chat, so you can post it if you want to.
All right.
Yeah,
Darren, do you? Okay.
Well, just in closing, this is a lot of fun. I like this sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I would be I don't have my own Twitter chat, handle or anything like that, but I've been around a long time, so that's the way I look at it, and I've seen a lot. I'm also interested in the Marvel stuff too. So if you ever do a debate or any kind of talk about Marvel stuff, that would be great. Like all the Infinity Stones and all that stuff. That I find that really interesting as well. But definitely, I feel that Batman versus Superman was a really good movie, and I think it was a really good start to the DCEU. And I think that we're going to find out a lot more stuff. I mean, it's coming down the pipe. You just got to be patient, and for the people out there that don't understand, maybe we should direct them to watch some animated stuff. I think that they would probably get the gist of things if they watched some animated stuff, you know?
Or even just like read a comic or like a couple comics will definitely help a lot.
I was gonna say,
like comic book fans, like I got a niece who's into comic books, heroes, and she's into all of the games and she's into everything, but she just hasn't got the time to sit down and read a comic book. I know it sounds funny, but she just doesn't. She's a busy manager and she's doing her thing, and so I said to her, well, get into like, what's your favorite character? She was like, well, I like Catwoman. So I didn't direct her to say, go look at a Catwoman movie, because that would be a big no-no, like right off the go.
No,
oh God, yeah.
Go check out the animated stuff. Go look at the animated stuff, and she loved it. And then Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and now she's a big fan. So
I was gonna say,
that's all.
What's funny is when Darren's like how he's old. I for some reason I just imagine him saying, "But I've killed things from other worlds." I don't know.
I would have killed things from other worlds, and Kevin Giroux. One more thing, Kevin Giroux. He played in the Thor movies. He was the guy for the. I don't know. His name is Kevin Giroux, and I think he would make an excellent Darkseid. So I don't know if you guys ever know about who he is. I think he would make an awesome.
The guy from Underworld. The guy from Underworld.
Yes, he's like he's like he opens up the portal for Thor and all those guys to go onto Earth and stuff like that to other worlds.
Oh yeah.
His name is Kevin Giroux. So
definitely.
He's super big, and he's got like what I think is a dark side face,
I can see that.
I just really want what's his name? The guy who plays I think I lost name. He's in that TV show called Luther. Let me pull it up. He's a really good Idris Elba. I want Idris Elba to play Brainiac.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Well, here's to the future, guys.
Yeah, well, we can continue this off air. I'm just going to stop the broadcast now, and